What's going on, my fellow A-Plusers? Welcome back once again to a brand new episode of A-Plus Morphinominal, your stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider review and news right here on our YouTube page. It is I, your Morphinominal host, Adam Perez, back once again as we're set to go ahead and get into Mashin Sentai Kiramager, episode number 38, guys. I can't believe we're almost to the 40s. We're almost to the end, and man, I don't want this ride to end. Like, as hyped as I am about Zenkaiger, guys, I really don't want Kiramager to end. I really love what they've been able to do just kind of all season long. They've just been so steady, some really solid episodes mixed in with some really great ones, if you will. This cast has just been so remarkable, and we wind up getting ourselves yet another great episode here this week. So we're going to be breaking it all down for you, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, this will be a spoiler review, so we definitely will be talking about it, and I believe we have some live viewer questions also that we'll probably get to towards the end of the episode. But listen, if you guys have continued to love our content here, do us a big favor. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and of course, if you love our content, get that big thumbs up, guys. Hit that like button for us so YouTube can certainly recognize our work, guys. So let's go ahead and get into episode number 38, where, you know, first and foremost, before we even get into like the nitty gritty, quick honorable mention goes out to the fact that Shaguru's movie clearly got himself a sequel, baby. That's right, we got I'm in Love with the Grim Reaper 2. Apparently the movie is coming out soon. I mean, you get the opportunity to see Shaguru in here reading off looks like one of his scripts as he was explaining to everybody where Takamichi went, and I think Moryu was off site this week also. Takamichi's out doing another treasure hunt, if you will, but I just love the fact that they snuck in the idea that I'm in Love with the Grim Reaper 2 is in fact getting a movie, or I should say a sequel. Yeah, I don't know how he even managed to survive the first one, to be perfectly honest with you. That's got to be a really crappy situation to be in for a relationship, to have your girlfriend be the Grim Reaper. Let's see here. But one of the things that I loved about this episode, man, there was so much to get into, but the Granterstones are back. You know, I've been asking you guys, like, where's our Granterstone storyline at, right? Like, I know that there was certainly more of them out there to be found. So for me, I really enjoyed the idea that the fourth and final Granterstone is being searched for here in this episode. We come to find out that really the idea of now getting the Granterstones, since we don't necessarily need to use them for Mabushina's curse any longer, it looks as though Takamichi certainly wants to bring back Planet Crystallia. So I think that's a brilliant idea of his, and that's exactly why he's doing the treasure hunt here in today's episode. But we do hear from King Orden this week that the Granterstone is called Alusha, otherwise in words for illusion, if you will, has the ability to bewitch people. So it winds up putting spells on you, whatever the case may be. So it seems like a very dangerous and very powerful stone, and it does not surprise me that at the end of this episode we have somebody like Emperor Yodan, who clearly wants this stone for himself, right? Clearly sending Yodonna on this mission to go ahead and retrieve it for him. You know, clearly he doesn't have the other Granterstones, if I'm not mistaken, so I don't know what he plans on certainly doing with just this one, but if he's already as powerful as he is for Emperor Yodan, I don't really like the idea of him having especially this particular Granterstone, of being able to create illusions and things like that. Yeah, I can honestly see this causing our Kiramagers a lot of problems, And the one thing that I love too here is that when you get to see how it's affecting Takamichi in here, I thought it was a genius idea to have this stone really sort of use a moment that a character regrets in his in their particular life, right? Like, so I love how they handled showcasing just the illusions in here. I thought the cinematography, or just the really great scene selections, whatever filters they kind of threw on there, I thought it was really neat anytime they kind of went into this illusion world, if you will, and kind of showcasing us what Takamichi is kind of experiencing firsthand while he's being sort of cast under their spell. So I really enjoyed just the usage of the Granterstone this week, and the fact that it's important again, that it's back into its main storyline for our Kiramagers to have to handle and deal with. So I thought that was pretty brilliant. And honestly, the fact that Takamichi is kind of under its spell in this episode, I gotta be honest, when I first saw that initial scene of Takamichi just kind of staring blankly until he's interrupted by an approaching Garza, right? When he's in his illusion, and you see Garza take off his helmet and he extends his hand and they shake hands. I'm looking at my screen like, huh? What just happened here? Like, did that moment just really happen, guys? Because I honestly had no idea what was going on. I was very much sort of under the impression that maybe Garza had the stone, right? Because when King Orden mentions the idea of what the illusion stone, the Granterstone, can certainly do, when you get to this scene, you immediately know, wait a minute, something's wrong. Something's wrong. I honestly was under the impression, like the other Kiramagers here, that maybe it was Garza that maybe came across the stone himself, and maybe he was using it on Takamichi to certainly get him to do what he wanted to. So really trippy stuff, and I really love the presentation of just getting into the storyline, because you guys know just how much I absolutely love this story between these two. I mean, you want to talk about just personal vendettas, like as charming as this show is when it comes to Kiramager, right? It always leaves you in like in some type of mood. I will say this: they do not have a problem with getting personal, and like just the idea of this main storyline having to deal with family sort of betrayal, if you will, right? King Orden against Garza, Garza wanting to chop down like his own nephew and things like that. Like, this is one of the storylines for this season I've been a huge fan of. So what we get to see here, because the illusion stone decided to go ahead and have Takamichi kind of relive this moment of regret, we do come to see a flashback sequence between these two. And you guys know I love my freaking flashbacks. I truly love my freaking flashbacks. But we get to see these two characters in Garza and Takamichi taking part in what they call the Duel, G-R-A Duel, Duel, Grey Duel. I don't know how they want to pronounce it, whatever the case may be. But it's a crystalline duel to determine who is a true swordsman. And I kind of love just the different points of view that these characters have going into this duel, right? Like, when you hear Takamichi explain it, Takamichi says he only really wants to do this swordsman duel with Garza because he just wants his acknowledgement, right? He just wants sort of his acceptance kind of into this family. So you immediately get this idea here that Garza probably wasn't the fondest of King Orden maybe bringing in this earthling, saving his life, giving him these abilities, just having him become a new son and bring him into the family sort of thing. It definitely feels as though that really rubbed sort of Garza the wrong way, to the point to where now Garza wants to chop this kid down, right? I mean, clearly frustrated in the idea that Takamichi was beating him in this Gra duel, honestly 2-0, I think. They were literally going down to their last strike when we see Garza, instead of taking the 3 steps and turning, he takes the easy way with the 2 steps and turn. Classic villain stuff, you know what I mean? But luckily, King Orden is there to go ahead and block it, or in fact would have been a killing blow for Takamichi. So it's just crazy just to see the different perspectives of the characters, the mindset of where Takamichi is and why he's doing this duel, and really just the idea of like where Garza's mindset is to wanting to chop this kid down, if you will. So I truly love just the flashback sequences in here, and really just loved, again, I mentioned this at the top, the idea of how they created these illusion worlds. Like even when Juru and Shaguru wind up coming in and Taka winds up seeing like the muddies and stuff, it was really cool to kind of see him have to figure things out and really deal with everything that was kind of going on. So I really enjoyed it. I truly enjoyed it between these two. I will say this. When things do go back to reality for Taka and Takamichi and Garza, one of my favorite scenes and sequences in this episode is when Taka just decides, you know what? I'm not running from this guy no more. Not that I ever felt that Taka ever ran away from Garza or anything like that, right? But you get the pleas from Juru and Shaguru, like, hey, we got to go back and we got to help the other Kiramagers, right? Like, we need your help with the Shiny Breaker type of thing. So when he calls the Shiny Breaker to him, I honestly think, you know what? Taka's going to go ahead and bow out. He's going to go ahead and help the team. They're about to leave. But then when he decides to stay, and he decides to ask for a sword, and you get that swap out between Shaguru and Takamichi with the shiny breaker for the sword. First off, I love the fact that Shaguru, like that little nod that Takamichi gives Shaguru, like, trust me, you know. And then Shaguru is like, thinks about it for a second, and he gives it over, and then you got the music that hits, that kind of gets you amped up, like, yo, he's about to take his stand. He's about to stand up against Garza here. Talk about the balls on Takamichi, man. I honestly thought he was about to leave, but when he summons the summon breaker, the shiny breaker, he swaps out the sword. He's getting ready to beat that ass, man. And I was like really waiting to kind of see the showdown. And Garza does it again, right? Garza tries to chop him down early, and we get the opportunity to see here with Takamichi shining as brightly as ever, taking him out sort of once again in spectacular fashion, right? It was, I mean, even calling upon like extra abilities and using his Kara mentality and things like that in order to really get the upper hand on Garza. I thought it was just beautifully done. Great musical score. Talk about getting yourself amped. I love the fact that Takamichi kind of had enough of all the crap that Garza was talking, and the idea that, yo, you tried to kill me once? Like, you really tried to kill me? Nah, I'm not about to go out like that. So I love the fact that Taka wind up standing up for himself here in this episode. But yeah, incredible storyline, man. I don't know how I feel about Taka not trying to take out Garza. I was kind of hoping maybe, well, no, I kind of want Garza to stay around a little bit. Maybe not that, but I would have liked to have seen him attempted. But I get it. I get it, right? Like, this is a moment that Takamichi regretted in his life. He wanted to at least accomplish that for himself. Maybe it wasn't so much about destroying Garza, but maybe proving something to not only Garza, but himself also. You know, the idea that, hey, I can beat you at any particular point in time. All season long, like, you've been doubting the Kiramagers, you've been doubting myself. This is my opportunity to prove to you, you got to stop doubting us. And I definitely do think Garza certainly feels that way, for sure. Also, I do got to talk about the cavity mask here this week. Also, I really love the design of him, to be honest with you. I honestly thought that there was really cool original designs maybe at the beginning of Kiramager. I feel like sometimes the villain concept and design can be kind of hit or miss. I feel more hit than miss, but there are some designs for these mask beasts that I'm actually a really big fan of. And when it came to the cavity mask, I thought that was pretty neat, to be honest with you. The idea of the cavity being at the top of his head, just seeing like half his face, the rest of his face is in fact a gigantic tooth. I thought it was a pretty neat ability to kind of give everybody cavities. While I personally have never had to deal with them, I have heard that they can be a bitch, to be honest with you. Like, I remember plenty of times seeing my mom just not want to move, get out of bed because her head was just felt like it was going to explode because there was a freaking cavity in one of her teeth. So I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people that have to experience that. But the idea of having to experience an entire mouthful of cavities, yeah, I really don't know how the Kiramagers even got up to have to even fight this dude, let alone even move. So I thought that was a pretty cool ability for the Marsk Beast to have. I mean, if you really want to torture somebody, yeah, toothache is probably the way to go, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, goodness, they even gave like the King Shark Express like cavities, if I'm not mistaken, in this episode also. I will say this, guys, one of the other storylines that continues to fascinate me is, in fact, this Yodana and Emperor Yodan stuff. We got a scene in here with Yodana where Tarantula is talking, but he's referencing everything he's saying to Emperor Yodan. And he's looking at Yodana, and so Yodana's got to correct him over and over. I thought that was pretty funny, but for me, it kind of made me try and figure out, like, does she understand how this concept is working, that Emperor Yodan like is inside of her and is speaking through her? She clearly doesn't seem to know when it's happening, and that alone is certainly trippy to me, right? So I can see maybe some of the pushback that Yodana is referencing, right? Like, she's saying, like, look, don't talk to me as Emperor Yodan. I'm clearly Yodana standing in front of you. You speak to Emperor Yodan when he's here. Almost like hey, don't dismiss me type of thing, right? Like, I'm honestly hoping that's what it is. I would love to see Yodana have some pushback to the idea of being more of a vessel and being used by something instead of like her having the ability to be her own person, right? So I would love to see a turn, but like, we're at episode 38. I don't know if how that's gonna execute, but we'll see, man. I'll keep my fingers crossed. But I love this sequence here because this is the time where we get to see Emperor Yodan and Yodana talking at the same time through her body. It's super creepy, but he's also referencing the both of them. So I don't even know if she is going to recall what Emperor Yodan even said to her here. Garza probably is going to have to lead her the rest of the way here. So we'll see what happens, but it's got to be pretty terrifying to have Yodana with the Granterstone and Garza, and now Garza with the threats of you shouldn't have let me live, or you know what I'm saying, like you should have stopped me when you can. So yeah, they Jotunheim's about to bring the pain, man, and the Kiramagers are not going to have an easy task ahead of them at all. But man, I got to tell you, this episode, I was a big fan. Guys. Excellent episode here, to be honest with you. Great special effects. Just the fight sequence between Takamichi and Garza, excellent as usual. All right, we got ourselves a couple of questions here. L'Oreal's got questions. He says, doesn't that cavity mask personify a kid's fear of a dentist or what? Yeah, tell me about it. Like, I do need to go to the dentist. Like, my dentist has been calling me saying, Adam, you got to come get your annual cleaning. And man, just the idea of like just going to the dentist, it's difficult to bring oneself to go ahead and do it. It's still probably one of my fears, honestly. You also say that gradual ritual crystallians do sounds pretty cool. Am I right? I mean, I do like the concept, right? They even introduced the idea of Durandi, I believe it was. I can't remember what it was exactly. I did write it down on my notes, but I can't get to it right now. Like, there's like a meal that you wind up having, like a sit-down meal between the two swordsmen before they actually duel. I'm assuming it's normally not to the death. I mean, because we clearly saw Takamichi like holding up just as he knew he was about to get his point, if you will. So, I mean, I like the concept of that being a fair duel. It definitely has that sort of Western vibe, right? Like the take a couple paces, man, and then turn around and shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it definitely has that Western vibe to it. And mind you, I also love the fact here that when we do the Takamichi battle with Garza here, in reality, I love the fact that not only does Garza attempt to do the same thing again, right? On the very first point, he's like, look, I'm just going to cheat right away. I'm not even going to hide who I am this time around, right? I love the fact that Taka blocks it and then has the honor and integrity to take the third step, because he stops at 2 to block it. And Taka doesn't turn around to start just attacking. No, he still has the integrity to take the third step and then turn and start to attack. So he and win this like the righteous way to do it. And I thought that was just, I don't know if the writers meant to put that in there, or maybe I'm just reading into it a little bit too much. But to me, that's a Prince move, guys. That's a Prince move, right? That's what I'd expect from the Prince of Crystallia. Could never have said it better, Garza, myself in here, man. But honestly, like the fact that he takes that third step and then turns to attack, I think that says something a little bit about his character and the meaning of honor to him, wanting to win this, without any excuses. Garza, you can't say I cheated. You know what I mean? A couple comments. You say, when the Rangers had gotten cavities, it reminded me times of when I went to the dentist, scary memories. Yeah, I mean, I definitely was never in that kind of pain for sure. But I'm pretty sure there are, I'm sure as I get older, I'm going to knock on some wood here real quick. You also say, is it possible that Yodana is a personified version of one of the Emperor's traits? Possibly. Good point there. It was kind of clever how they have the shiny breaker used as a dentist drill. Yeah, that was pretty neat, seeing Shaguru fly in there as the hero and literally land and start drilling on top of the dude's head. I thought that was a great move, honestly. Let's see here. We got a question from Alec. He says, I love this episode. Although it is a trope in both Super Sentai and Power Rangers, I don't see how they are not setting up Jiro to be the guy who battles Emperor Yodan and saves everyone on his own. I mean, hey, if that's what they're building up to, I feel like they're doing a really good job. I really do. I feel like I've personally have seen the growth of Jiro. We clearly see the connection to him and King Orion. While yes, it certainly is a trope, the build-up certainly to it has worked. So I'm honestly hoping that the payoff, I certainly hope the payoff is there. I mean, you know, who knows? Maybe we wind up getting like a part of me is also wondering here, Alec, like, you know, I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to end, but you know, the idea that he's got this Granterstone now, a part of me is wondering like if he's going to try and create some type of illusion for King Orion, maybe do something to pull Orion onto his side. I don't know what this guy's going to do, but whatever the case may be, we'll see how Jiro winds up you know, how does he wind up dealing with Emperor Yodan when that time comes. You also say, my question is, do you think that his Kira mentality might make him worthy to connect Crystalia and Earth so that each side can roam between worlds freely, or just restore Crystalia and they just keep the memories and friendships? You know, I would be fascinated to see if maybe the wish only allows them to go ahead and do that. You know, who knows? Maybe it's the idea of the Kiramagers thinking that they need all four to make this wish happen, but maybe all you really need is a little Jiro to make this happen, right? Like maybe Jiro is that powerful. Listen, I've seen Jiro do some amazing things so far this season. If he can push himself even beyond where King Orion is, do I think his mentality might make him worthy to connect the two? Yeah, I do. Like, is that how it's going to happen? No, but do I think that they're building him up to where he eventually will have that ability, or maybe he's at that power level already? I do think that he's probably capable of doing that. I would be interested to see if that's the route that they go. In showcasing him, but I feel like Jiro is proving himself to be worthy right now, especially if King Orion trusts him the way that he certainly does, you know? If I had to guess how they were going to pull it off, though, because you say connect Crystalia and Earth or just restore Crystalia, a part of me kind of wants them to connect it, right? Like, I think that's what, well, you know what? I say that, but they already have a world like that, right? Like, because they have Crystalia. If they bring back Crystalia, then I would assume, if anything, the world where King Orion is at right now that only Embark can get to, right? Because that's the Holy Land, the Automald, if I'm not mistaken, where, you know, they have sort of that Earth and I thought wasn't it Earth or was it just a safe haven for Crystallians? I thought it was like a blend or a mix of the two, or maybe we saw something along those lines. I can't remember if it was like a perfect in harmony type thing already, but regardless, I'll be interested. Alec, to see how they wind up doing it, man. But some great questions, man. Great questions today, guys. But listen, guys, other than that, I think that's probably going to be it for us here today, guys. So thank you so much for definitely joining us for yet another Kiramager episode. So happy Toku Tuesday. I believe we probably might have ourselves Kamen Rider Saber. I know because of the fact that we had New Year's Eve last weekend, that's probably why we didn't get ourselves a brand new episode of either shows. But if I'm assuming, I would assume, if anything, it would probably be back. So keep your fingers crossed that you have yourselves a Kamen Rider Saber review headed your way this week, guys. But other than that, that's going to do it for me here. But of course, we certainly will be back this upcoming Saturday, going live at noon Central Time, ladies and gentlemen, to go ahead and highlight your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, and Tokusatsu news and reviews right here. So do me one big thing at the end of the day, though, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and as always, keep it A+. Kirame change!